Hello everyone, my name is Luz Maria Espinosa. I am a longtime board member of LUCHA Incorporated. LUCHA Incorporated was founded in the 1970s. Since then, LUCHA has been working in the areas of immigration reform, in the areas of incarceration reform, education, the arts, and political advocacy. At this point in time, we have developed a video to address the crisis of family separation at the border. It is vital that each and every one of us do our part to help to end this assault on our children and parents. How can you help? This video will provide you with suggestions of what you can do to make a difference in a peaceful and loving way. Thank you very much, and we hope to be able to get you to help in any way that you can.
Hello there, my name is Javier Gomez. I'm one of the members of the LUCHA board. I'm here with the president of LUCHA, and we're here in Santa Paula, we're going to be going over to a rally that's going to take place to call attention to the immigration issues plaguing our country, and in particular we're concerned about what's happening to our children who have been left in cages, and I'm going to ask Gavino maybe to share some thoughts about how he sees it as the president of LUCHA, what we can do to help remedy this issue.
Yeah, well, one of the things that we're looking at is how do we raise critical awareness of what's happening with these children. I mean, we ourselves, most of us are parents with children, and can you imagine how it feels to lose a 2-year-old child, and then in a situation, hostile situation, and then for you to be separated from that child, and then for you to be sent back to your place 2,000 miles away, not knowing what's happening with that child, and then for that child to be here, not even know what his true identity is, what his parents' names are, etc., etc. So that's trauma big time.
I fight, I struggle to make sure that these kids are out of cages. I've myself have witnessed and campaigned to get some of my community members out of ICE detention. And what I've witnessed is there's nothing like seeing families being separated, having holidays go by where the parent isn't home or an uncle isn't home. It's true, like what you mentioned around the traumas. And for me, it's especially really heartbreaking to know that this trauma, it gets carried on. It's generational trauma, and it's trauma that the government knows exists and is okay with. There's a lot that different groups have been doing as part of our MMIW GP group. We've came out to support the Brown Berets.
We're out here today to support the children who are still incarcerated in the ICE camps. Currently, there are thousands of children that are missing, that have gone into ICE custody. I myself had the privilege and opportunity to tour one immigration facility and see that there was only little boys. In a particular facility I went to, there was not one little girl. I had the opportunity to ask administration how much they receive in funding every year to incarcerate the children there, and they said they receive approximately $5.7 million from the federal government to house 24 children, and that they take the kids that are sent to them. Abolish ICE, free the kids now.
desgarrador, tenebroso. Yo miro y muy afligido, el salvaje aterrador de encarcelar a los niños en jaulas de olor a muerte, en un secuestro masivo. A la brava los arrancan de los brazos de las madres cuando cruzan las fronteras y los llaman ilegales, matan su fe y su futuro, peor y más cruel que animales. Ya no hay derechos humanos que defiendan a los niños, madres con hijos gritando de dolor enloquecieron, soñando encontrar la gloria hoy. Solo viven un infierno. El poder y como el dinero compra conciencia humana. Sabrá Dios si es el gobierno o la falsa sociedad, pero montones de niños mueren y algunos papás. Si minar la libertad es delito castigable, porque el mundo sigue ciego al abuso y al martirio. Porque no les duele el alma la tragedia de los niños.
I hope you experience the reality of the condition of the children in cages. As you can see, this 6-month project produced by the filmmaker Julio Alcala on behalf of Lucha's board of directors, which is membered by Chicanos and Chicanas who have been part of the effort to struggle against all kinds of discrimination. And today we're seeking your participation in helping us in that effort. In that video, you heard from Javier Gomez and Gavino Aguirre, and the young sister from the Berets, and Emmy, who shared her ability and opportunity to participate in an observation of a detention center. We want to now make an effort to recruit your support and help in a number of ways. I'm glad to let Noemi and Javier share with you how you will be able to help us in our quest to continue the effort to liberate these young people back to their familias.
You know, so those concentration camps are no different. They may be in the state of the art now, but still it's a concentration camp with barbed wire and chain link fences that are keeping the kids encaged. And And so it's really a travesty to these families, you know. But my question is, what can someone who's hearing us talk do in order to participate in the reunification of these families? What can they do morally, spiritually, and even financially? What can they do to help out, you know, the cause of what everyone is fighting against, and that is, you know, kids in cages?
Yeah, I think that's a really good question. I think that we need to listen to the voices of the people most affected. One, support these families, especially right now during COVID times. We need to help them through mutual aid, through in a way that is, I believe, non-hierarchical, in a way that is collective, in a way where we see each other as neighbors and as equals. I think that more than listening is also acting. So showing up to when there's a rally, knowing that a lot of other undocumented people can't show up because of the potential threat of being arrested and detained. And so we need allies to show up, right? We need people with privilege and understanding what different privileges we have. For example, myself, I experienced a lot of the traumas of from the U.S. immigration system, but now I have documentation, so I have to show up also for other people. And so I know that now there is less threat for me, so I show up now. You know, whenever before I couldn't. You know, I was, my family told me, mija, I know you care, but you will get arrested and sent back to Mexico and not be able to continue your education here. And so I had to wait for years until I was old enough to become a citizen. And that's a privilege, you know, that I had to recognize myself, that I speak 2 languages, that I can help, for example, translate documentation for people, for posters for rallies. You know, there's so many ways that we can contribute. And that's one thing I've learned being part of different movements, is that we all have different skills and values that we can contribute, especially to this super important issue of freeing our children that are in cages, our mothers, our grandmothers, our tias, our abuelitas, all the people who make up our beautiful communities. You know, so we have to, you know, and there's beautiful ways of getting creative. If showing up to an event isn't your thing, you can write a song, you know, you can write a poem, you can get creative and show your collective support in that way, and your solidarity. So I always tell people, for my shy friends, you know, you can just reshare an event. That goes a long way. But also I want to stress the importance of showing up physically. And I know we're in COVID times, so it changes things a little, but also knowing that there is a serious need to show up in person to rallies, to actual concentration camps when there are rallies there, and put pressure on Biden and on Harris, because they have the power to reunite these families. They have the whole powers that make up Congress, the Senate, there's just so much that they can do. There's so much money out there to put resources together. And if they tell us otherwise, it's not true. Okay, there's the resources, it just needs to happen, and it needs to be something that they're willing to do. And unfortunately, they're not gonna do it on their own. It's gonna take our pressure. And that means calling them constantly, showing up to your Congress member's office, showing up, calling your senators, assembly members, writing letters, bugging them, because, you know, that might be an inconvenience for us, but these families that go another day without their family members, like that's trauma that's gonna literally, physically going to carry on in their bloodline. And we need to stop that. We need to heal our communities, you know?
Well, you heard it, and it speaks to the big question that one of the Lucha board members raised, and that is, what can we do to remedy this problem that exists when we have children still locked up in cages and they haven't been united with their families. And we're really grateful that Noemi highlighted a lot of the important things that you viewing can do in order to improve the life of these children, and also how we have to continue to put pressure on our government. And Naomi, we really want to thank you for the hard work that you're doing in our community. As a young person, La Lucha, what you're doing is La Lucha. That's why Lucha, when we gave the name to our organization, is Lucha, because every day we're still fighting for the better cause and how to improve the lives. Viva la Lucha is part of what Cesar Chavez also spoke about. Viva la causa. The causa is something that we have to continue struggling for, to improving the lives. And we have to encourage other young people like yourself to find that heart in them, that says, I'm not going to stand by what's going on and accept all this negative treatment of our children and our families, and I think we're all been impacted by the immigration laws that have existed. In my center, I have a lot of families, and one family in particular who were devastated by being deported and only having to sneak back into the United States because of the injustices, and their children suffering. Not only were the parents victimized, but also their children when they went back to Mexico, and how they were treated in Mexico as being foreigners in their own country. And so for the welfare of their children, they had to come back to the United States because they saw the trauma that they were suffering. So we really want to thank you. Any parting words that you want to say to our board for this effort that you're doing?
Yeah, thank you so much. I think some of the last things I want to mention are just repeating a little bit of what you said, emphasizing about how in our own communities there's prejudice among each other, whether if son de Michoacan or de Oaxaca, and just emphasizing that we are all one, we're all the human race, and we need to show up for each other in a compassionate and loving way. And just remembering that we can do that from home. We can just hold each other accountable. And also it's super important the work you're doing, right? Because another part of there's trauma, and so we need to create spaces where there could be healing. And so we definitely need to create more cultural spaces where different communities can heal from this trauma, can do it through art, through medicine, traditional medicine, through music, cantos, poemas, all of that beauty, right? So I'm just really excited about that part because I've been working with young indigenous people who are so creative, and so they take these traumas and they're able to process them in ways through hip hop, or through a rap song, or through art or things like that. So just knowing that we've suffered through so much, and we continue to, and yet we're still here. My grandmother still speaks our Purepecha language, so just me standing here is an example that they try to bury us, and here I am. And so just knowing that there's still hope, hay esperanza, and we have to keep on the lucha, and we're resilient, as a people, and we have to protect our people. For me, it's super important to protect especially our indigenous women and girls, many of which are in concentration camps and are suffering a lot of this. And knowing that as indigenous women, we hold so much sacred medicine and so much sacred wisdom that must be carried on forward. And so we can't do that if we're in concentration camps. So I am really excited to see everyone participate and support in any way. As I mentioned, if you're watching this, you too can support. You have skills, and if you don't know what those skills are, we'll find them. Just reach out to the people that are doing the work, because we need all of us. We don't need one leader. We need all of us to be leaders. So thank you.
Bueno, gracias.